There is a quiet moment in life when everything changes. It happens when you stop gripping so tightly, when you stop checking, fixing, pushing, and worrying, when you stop trying to control how things should happen. That moment may feel small, almost invisible, but it carries enormous power because the moment you loosen your grip, life begins to move again. Most of the time, stress does not come from what is happening. It comes from how hard you're trying to manage it. The mind believes that control equals safety. It tells you that if you think enough, plan enough, and hold on tightly enough, you can avoid pain or disappointment. But control is heavy. It tightens the chest. It shortens the breath. It makes the heart tired. Letting go is not about giving up. It is about putting the weight down. It is the decision to stop fighting the present moment. When you let go, you are not saying that you do not care. You are saying that you trust life more than your fear. There is a deep peace that arrives when you stop trying to force answers. When you stop asking, "Why is this not working yet?" Or, "When will things finally change?" That peace comes when you allow things to unfold without pulling them toward you. You begin to feel lighter, not because everything is solved, but because you are no longer carrying everything alone. The truth is simple. Life flows best when you stop blocking it with worry. When you release the need to control every detail, you make space for something better than what you planned. You allow timing to align. You allow ease to enter. You allow solutions to arrive in ways your mind could not imagine. So take a slow breath right now. Feel how the body responds when you stop trying for a moment. Notice how even a small pause can soften the tension inside you. This is the beginning of letting go, not with force, not with effort, but with kindness toward yourself. Letting go is a gentle act. It does not rush. It does not demand. It simply opens the hands and says, "I no longer need to hold this so tightly." And when you do that, life has room to move toward you. Letting go works because life is meant to move. Energy is meant to flow. When you cling to fear, to plans, to outcomes, you interrupt that flow. You may not notice it at first, but over time, holding on creates pressure. Pressure turns into stress. Stress turns into exhaustion. Many people believe that letting go means losing control, but in truth, it is the opposite. Letting go gives you control over what truly matters, your inner peace. You cannot control how life unfolds, but you can choose how tightly you hold it. When you stop forcing, things begin to line up naturally. Conversations feel easier, decisions become clearer, opportunities appear without struggle. This does not happen because you tried harder. It happens because you stopped resisting. There is wisdom in surrender, not the kind that collapses, but the kind that trusts. Surrender says, "I do my part, and I allow life to do the rest." It understands that you were never meant to carry the weight of every outcome. Think about how much energy is spent worrying about things that have not happened yet. The mind runs ahead, creating problems that may never come. Letting go brings you back to now, and in the present moment, you are often safer than you think. When you release the need to control, your body relaxes, your breath deepens, your thoughts slow down. in that calm space, you begin to hear your inner guidance more clearly. You start to feel when something is right instead of forcing it to be right. Letting go also creates trust. Trust does not mean blind belief. It means knowing that life has carried you before, even when you did not understand what was happening. There were moments in the past that felt confusing or painful, yet later they made sense. This is proof that life has its own intelligence. The more you let go, the more you notice this intelligence at work. You begin to see that delays are not punishments, they are protection. You see that endings are not failures, they are redirections. You realize that what falls away was never meant to stay. Letting go clears space, and space is powerful. In space, new ideas are born. In space, healing happens. In space, miracles find room to enter. You do not have to chase them. You only have to stop blocking them. One of the hardest things to do is trust life when it does not make sense, when plans fall apart, when answers do not come, when you feel stuck between what was and what has not yet arrived. In these moments, the mind wants certainty. It wants proof. It wants control. But life does not always explain itself in advance. Sometimes clarity comes only after you move through the experience. Trust is the bridge between not knowing and peace. It is the decision to believe that even now something meaningful is unfolding. You are not meant to see the whole path at once. You are only meant to take the next step. Life reveals itself in pieces, not because it is unkind, but because growth happens gradually. If everything were revealed at once, you would not become who you need to be. When you trust life, you stop pushing against the current. You stop asking it to hurry. You stop telling it how things should look. Instead, you allow yourself to be guided. This does not make you weak. It makes you open. Trust brings softness into hard moments. It allows you to breathe even when things are uncertain. It reminds you that confusion does not mean failure. It means transition. Something is shifting, even if you cannot see it yet. Life is always working in layers. What you see on the surface is only part of the story. Beneath it, connections are forming. Lessons are being learned. Strength is being built. You may feel delayed, but you are not denied. When you trust life, you give yourself permission to rest. You stop carrying the future on your shoulders. You stop replaying the past in your mind. You stay where your power is, in the present moment. There is great relief in accepting that you do not need to have everything figured out. Peace does not come from knowing the outcome. It comes from knowing that you will be okay no matter how things unfold. Trust does not remove challenges. It changes how you meet them. Instead of fear, you bring calm. Instead of resistance, you bring acceptance. And from that place, life responds differently. When you soften, life softens back. When you stop chasing, what belongs to you begins to move toward you. This is the quiet truth of letting go. It is not about doing nothing. It is about trusting enough to stop forcing. And in that trust, something beautiful begins to grow. There are moments in life when everything seems to fall apart at once, Plans break, doors close, people leave, paths you were sure about suddenly disappear. In those moments, it is easy to believe that something has gone wrong. The mind quickly labels it as failure, loss, or mistake. But life often works in a quieter, wiser way. When something falls apart, it is often because it can no longer support who you are becoming. What once fit may now feel heavy, limiting, or painful. Life removes what no longer matches your growth, not to punish you, but to make space. Space is necessary for anything new to enter. Endings feel uncomfortable because they bring uncertainty. They leave you standing in the unknown. Yet the unknown is not empty. It is full of possibility. You may not see it yet, but something else is already taking shape beyond what you can see. When you trust this, you stop clinging to what is leaving. You stop as king, why it had to end. Instead, you begin to ask what this ending is preparing you for. This small shift changes everything. It turns fear into curiosity. It turns pain into openness. Life is not cruel when it closes doors. It is precise. It knows which paths will lead you forward and which ones will keep you stuck. Sometimes it must move things out of the way before it can guide you where you truly belong. What leaves creates room. Room for better alignment. Room for deeper peace. Room for experiences that fit you more fully. Even if it does not feel that way at first, every ending carries a beginning inside it. You are not behind because something ended. You are not broken because something did not work out. You are simply in transition. And transition is a sign that life is moving, not stopping. Fear often appears when you try to control what you cannot predict. It speaks loudly. It rushes your thoughts. It tells you that you need answers now, but fear is not a sign that something bad is happening. It is a sign that you are trying to stand in the future instead of the present. Calm is a choice you return to again and again. It does not mean that everything is perfect. It means that you are willing to meet what is happening without panic. Calm allows you to breathe instead of react. When you choose calm, you stop feeding fear with your attention. You stop repeating worst-case stories in your mind. You bring yourself back to what is real right now. And right now, you are still here. You are still breathing. You are still supported. Calm creates clarity. From calm, you can hear your inner voice more clearly. You can feel what is right instead of guessing. Fear blocks this guidance. Calm opens it. This is why simple affirmations are powerful, not because they change life instantly, but because they change your inner state. When you repeat peaceful thoughts, your body responds, your heart slows down, your nervous system relaxes, and from that state, better choices naturally follow. You do not need to fight fear. You only need to soften around it. Fear loses strength when it is not resisted. Calm is not forceful. It is gentle and steady. Each time you choose calm, you remind yourself that you are safe enough to trust. You remind yourself that you do not have to solve everything at once. You only have to stay present. Timing is one of the most misunderstood parts of life. When something takes longer than expected, the mind assumes something is wrong. It asks, "Why is this not happening yet?" But timing is not a delay meant to hurt you. It is a rhythm meant to guide you. Everything arrives when you are ready to receive it fully, not when you want it, but when it fits your growth. Some things need preparation. Some things need healing. Some things need you to become stronger, calmer, or clearer before they arrive. Waiting is not punishment. It is protection. If something came too early, it might overwhelm you. If it came too late, it might miss its purpose. Life times things carefully, even when it feels slow. When you trust timing, you stop rushing yourself. You stop comparing your path to others. You stop feeling like you are late. You understand that your journey moves at the pace that serves you best. What is meant for you cannot miss you. It will find you when you are ready to hold it with peace instead of fear. This trust removes pressure, and when pressure lifts, life flows more easily. Divine timing does not respond to urgency. It responds to alignment. The more relaxed and open you are, the more naturally things begin to unfold. You do not need to chase what belongs to you. You only need to stay open and patient. Life is already arranging things in ways you cannot yet see. There is a moment when trying harder no longer helps. You push, you plan, you chase, and yet nothing seems to move. This is often life's quiet signal, inviting you to soften, not to quit, but to release effort that has turned into tension. Effort becomes heavy when it comes from fear, when you act because you are afraid of missing out, falling behind, or losing control. Your energy tightens. Life responds to this tightness by slowing down, not to punish you, but to get your attention. When you relax your effort, something shifts. You still take action, but it feels natural instead of forced. You stop chasing outcomes and start trusting movement. You do what feels right in the moment and let go of the rest. Life flows toward openness. When you stop demanding results, results often arrive more easily. This is because ease creates space, and space allows things to move freely. You were never meant to push life into shape. You were meant to meet it with presence. When you release effort, you allow things to come to you in ways that feel aligned and gentle. This does not mean doing nothing. It means doing what you can without carrying the weight of what you cannot control. Peace grows when you stop trying to force the future and start living where you are. True letting go does not start on the outside. It begins within. It begins when you release the thoughts that keep you tense, the worries you repeat, the fears you hold, the beliefs that tell you everything depends on you. When you imagine releasing these inner burdens, the body responds. The chest feels lighter, the breath deepens, the mind becomes quieter. This inner release is powerful because it changes how you experience life. You realize that you do not need to carry everything. You do not need to solve every problem right now. You do not need to have all the answers. Life can hold some of the weight for you. As you let go internally, you begin to trust guidance instead of control. You feel when to move and when to rest. You sense when something is right and when it is time to release it. This inner letting go brings freedom. Freedom from pressure. Freedom from constant thinking. Freedom from fear-driven action. And in that freedom, clarity appears naturally. You do not have to push clarity into existence. It rises when the mind becomes still enough to hear it. Living in flow does not mean life becomes perfect. It means life becomes lighter. You stop fighting what is. You stop resisting change. You stop wishing things were different. Flow happens when you meet each day with openness, when you allow moments to unfold without judging them too quickly, when you trust that even small steps matter. Calm energy attracts calm experiences. When you move through life with patience and trust, people respond differently. Situations feel less heavy. Even challenges feel easier to handle. You begin to notice beauty again. Simple things bring comfort. Small moments feel meaningful. This is the quiet reward of letting go. When you live in flow, you stop measuring your life by speed or comparison. You move at your own pace. You honor your timing. You respect your needs. Life feels more supportive when you stop pushing against it. Flow is not something you find. It is something you allow. Trust is not something you choose once. It is something you return to again and again, especially when doubt appears, especially when things feel unclear. Each time fear arises, you have a choice. You can tighten and resist, or you can soften and trust. Trust does not mean you will never feel fear. It means fear no longer controls your actions. When you return to trust, you remind yourself that life has carried you before. You remember that even difficult moments passed. You remember that you are still here. Trust brings steadiness. It grounds you when the world feels uncertain. It allows you to move forward without rushing. It helps you stay present instead of lost in worry. The more you practice trust, the more natural it becomes. It turns into a quiet strength within you, a calm knowing that you are supported, even when you cannot see how. Letting go is not about losing something. It is about gaining peace. It is about choosing trust over tension, calm over fear, flow over force. When you stop holding so tightly, life has room to move. When you stop chasing, what belongs to you begins to draw closer. When you stop controlling, you begin to receive. You are not late. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be. Life is unfolding in ways you may not yet understand, but it is unfolding with care. Trust the timing, trust the process, trust yourself. What is meant for you will arrive gently, naturally, and at the right moment. And until then, breathe, soften, allow. Life is already working with you.